Whereas Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has strongly opposed any financial assistance to Pakistan from the International Monetary Fund, warning that such aid could help up in ending the funding terrorist organizations operating from its soil. While interacting with the military personnel at the Bhuj Air Force Station in Gujarat, he has questioned the International Monetary Fund for disbursing a second tranche of 1.23 billion under the Extended Fund Facility program for terror-packed Pakistan. He has emphasized that Pakistan would use this money for terror funding. He has pointed out to the reports that Pakistan is set to pay designated terrorist Masood Azhar 14 crores as compensation for the destruction of the Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters in Bahawalpur. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has stated that he believes that Pakistan will spend a large portion of the funds received from the International Monetary Fund on terror infrastructure in their country. Remember, viewers, Pakistan is heavily dependent on the IMF bailout package, which helped to shore up its dwindling forex reserves. The country got backing from the fund at a critical time last year when it was on the verge of bankruptcy, and was saved by the lender by providing $3 billion on a short-term basis. According to the details on the IMF website, Pakistan has received at least 25 bailout loans since becoming a member of the fund. Wing Commander Praful Bakshi is joining me live on the broadcast. Mr. Bakshi, in fact, the big message by Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh from Gujarat at the base with forces is like there is picture is not complete. India stands tough and ready to call out the institutions. But when we talk about, in fact, the IMF stand right now, it has also been mentioned in the statements by Raksha Mantri to Pakistan funding terror, and also the kind of motives and purpose that Pakistan would have with this bailout in the latest. How do you view, in fact, all the other nations also raising their voice in providing financial aid to Pakistan by the IMF, as Raksha Mantri has also vowed earlier that he is going to approach the UN to look into this matters?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
It's a very
Bakshi.
serious matter that Raksha Mantri is in now Bhuj, and he is addressing the Yemen soldiers. But more than that, every aid which Pakistan is getting, obviously, into funding the terrorists, funding their weapon systems, and raising more and more terrorist camps. Now that is already known, but the surprising thing is, how does the monetary fund get sanctioned? What is the role of America? What are the role of other countries? Obviously, China must be also having its say. So is Turkey. So is Bangladesh, and so are the number of OIC countries who do lip service to humanitarian activities, but they supply aid to Pakistan. We don't have to fool ourselves. Pakistan is being aided by all the countries who support the radical Islam. That's what the radical Islam I'm meaning. And that is where our danger lies. For us, we have to relentlessly carry out a task of operating. We have to be ready for a protracted, which will extend. Don't let us not think that it is going to be over. And we have to make sure within our country, everybody is cooperating. This religious, anti-religious feeling, etc., that Hindu-Muslim divide, which is the main weapon system of Pakistan, has to be totally annihilated. Then only we can take further steps. Military action will follow thereafter.
Well, absolutely, Mr. Bakshi. While I request you to kindly stay on with us in the telecast, and thank you very much for adding your comments now. And Dr. Sharad Kohli is also there with me live on the broadcast. Mr. Kohli, India's big message to the IMF is clearer than ever. And now IMF should reconsider funding Pakistan, which is going to further propagate the financial aid into its motive for spreading terrorism, is what Raksha Mantri has also reiterated. While we understand, in fact, how the IMF giving loan to Pakistan has also been contentious for other nations. But as far as India is concerned, the big message is all clear. How do you think at this point of time other nations are also, as far as trade is also looped in, should consider reacting on this very bailout, as in the past 25 bailouts have already been issued to Pakistan by the IMF?
Well, good afternoon, Simran. 25 times, Pakistan has been on the verge of bankruptcy, Diwaliya as they call it in Hindi. And 25 times it has been bailed out. So I think IMF should know, any lender would know that where the money is going. You can make out. And this is, there is a very interesting thing, Simran, which has come out. I call it as recycling of the fund for terrorism. IMF gives to Pakistan. Pakistan gives 14 crores to Masood Azhar for his family, 14 family members, 1 crore each. And then that 14 crore again comes back into the cycle and gets used for harboring the terrorism, training the terrorists, keeping these terrorist factories alive. So this is a classic case of recycling of funds, which has been going on. 1/6 of IMF voting is with America, 16% Simran. So I call this as proxy funding by America for Pakistan. This is because UK has about 6%, America has 16%. Between of course, China and other countries are there. Between these two countries, they are indirectly, they don't know or they know that they are funding terrorism. I think it's to stop, whereas the purpose for which, on record, this fund is given is for electricity, is for water, is for basic food supplies, is for necessities of Pakistani awam. But none of this happens. The entire money gets siphoned out in either corruption or harboring terrorism. And Hukumrans of Pakistan are using the same money. Now, I'm going to say something very interesting. The same money gets channelized to corruption. And from that corruption money, somebody goes and buys a house in New York. He buys a villa in London. This is so, I call this as recycling of the money. It is going back to them. And this funding, Pakistan buys arms, and those arms are bought from America, bought from other countries. So I can see a clear motive and double standards of some of the developed nations. I'm sorry to say that, Simran, that these are categorical double standards, that on one side you criticize terrorism, on one side you say we want to engage into a ceasefire, we initiated the dialogue of ceasefire, which is not true. And on the other side, you are funding terrorism by proxy means. What kind of double standards are these? It's very shameful that an organization like IMF is getting into this, not once, not twice, but now 25 times. Otherwise, Pakistan, if this bailout had not happened, Simran, Pakistan would have been finished from the global map by now, Simran.
All right, Dr. Sharath Kohli, thank you very much for being with us on the broadcast. And as we understand, in fact, as this is the biggest development this morning, the message by the Indian Army and Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is clear. And to IMF, in fact, the big statement has been issued, and with all these comments that have been made by Raksha Mantri, he has also reiterated that picture abhi baki hai. To all my guests, thank you very much for being with us on the broadcast. Now, let's shift our focus to other developments. The Indian Army into